Shrek, Ant-Man, and Don Rickles are all on this day. Hey, welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is April 6th. It is the 97th day of the year and the 18th day of spring. There's only 76 days left until summer. If this is your birthday, your birthstone is a diamond or a crystal. I guess diamond if you're rich and crystal if not so much. Today is also International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. The International Day of Sport for Development and Peace celebrates sports and their widespread contribution to education, human development, a healthy lifestyle, and world peace. Now, I'm sure this means something to someone. It just seems like a bit of a reach to have a cause. I don't know. I don't get it. It just seems like they threw a bunch of stuff together because there's nothing going on this day. And hey, we'll celebrate peace and sports all together. Sure, they're all great causes. I just feel like it's a bit of a stretch. Okay, let's see what else went down on past April 6th. 1712, the New York slave revolt of 1712 begins near Broadway. This was an uprising in New York City when it was the British province of New York. 23 enslaved Africans pretty much had had enough. They killed 9 whites and injured another 6 before they were stopped. In the early 18th century, New York City had one of the largest slave populations of any of England's colonies. Slavery in the city was different because there were no large plantations, so they weren't really spread out. Slaves worked as domestic servants, dock workers, and other various skilled laborers. Enslaved Africans lived near each other in the cities, and they also worked amongst free blacks. This wasn't a thing on the southern plantations. Slaves in the city could communicate and plan a conspiracy more easily than their counterparts in the plantations. Years ago, I watched this Discovery show about this whole slave revolt. It was really interesting. Actually, it was some years ago because it was right about the time that movie Gangs of New York came out, and they were talking about all the different things about New York City in its early days. It was really, really interesting. 1808, John Jacob Astor incorporated the American Fur Company, which would eventually make him America's first millionaire. At the time of his death in 1848, Astor was the wealthiest person in the United States, leaving an estate estimated to be worth about $20 million. This is the equivalent to around $650 million in 2019 numbers. Now, I know that fur isn't really popular these days and it's kind of, going down, but this made him a lot of money. Fur helped this country grow into what it was. That and tobacco. Things that people are shying away from now. If you ever get a chance, there's a movie with Sigourney Weaver, one of the greatest lines in a movie. I think it was Working Girl, but it's in the 80s. She's getting out of a car and she's this rich woman and she has this long fur coat on, and this hippie chick sees her, stops her and goes, "Do you know how many animals died for that coat?" And Sigourney Weaver very quickly goes, "Do you know how many animals I had to F for this coat?" And just walks by her. And the girl had a stunned look. Greatest line of a movie. 1841, U.S. President John Tyler is sworn in 2 days after having become the president upon William Henry Harrison's death. President Harrison died of typhoid pneumonia and a parathyroid fever 31 days into his term. It's the shortest tenure of any president. He became the first president to die in office, which I did not know that until I just read this. I thought someone else died before him, but, that's just me. 1917, World War I. The United States declares war on Germany. For the first time. Before entering the war, the U.S. had remained neutral, though it had been an important supplier to the United Kingdom, France, and other allied powers. This war represented the climax of the progressive era, as it sought out to bring reform and democracy to the world. And, we've continued that forever, and I think we're kind of backing away from that now. I don't know. We've always tried to do that, turn everyone into a democracy, even if they didn't want to. 1970, the Newhall Massacre happens. 4 California Highway Patrol officers are killed in a shootout. This was a shootout between 2 heavily armed criminals, 1 civilian, and 4 officers from the California Highway Patrol. In less than 5 minutes, the 4 CHP officers were killed in what became the deadliest day in the history of California law enforcement. Now, these 2 idiots were trying to rob a bank and all this, and they were getting everything ready, and like an idiot, one of the criminals got in like a road rage thing and pulled a pistol on someone while they got a car loaded with weapons. So the guy that the points the weapon at goes to a phone, calls the highway patrol, gives a description of the car, and a few minutes later the highway patrol pull him over. 2 officers pull up. They know the guy's got a gun, so the guy goes up there with his shotgun kind of across his chest. He's not pointing at the car, and one of the guys just shoots the highway patrolman, and then this shootout happens with the other officer. Up comes a civilian that's an ex-Marine. He sees the 2 downed officers, runs over, grabs the shotgun of one of the downed officers, and starts shooting at the criminals. I guess he just, at a distance, put a couple pellets in one of the guy's chest, but they take off. One of them is pulled over later on, and he's just arrested because he's out of bullets. The other guy breaks into someone's home, holds the family hostage. They eventually escape, and the house is surrounded by the police, and he commits suicide. The other guy dies in jail of suicide years later. But it was a sad situation. 1974, the Swedish pop band ABBA wins the Eurovision Song Contest with the song Waterloo, launching their international career. They are the most successful group to have taken part in this competition. It was like early version of like America's Got Talent type thing. Their music today is best known for being part of the Broadway musical Mamma Mia and the movie that was made about the musical. 1994, the Rwandan genocide begins when an aircraft carrying the Rwandan president and other political leaders from the area is shot down. This creates a major power vacuum and ended the peace accords between a bunch of different countries. Genocidal killings begin the following day when soldiers, police, and militia execute key Tutsi and moderate Hutu military and political leaders. And it just goes on. If you ever want to see a really sad movie, Hotel Rwanda, it's pretty bad. You read up on that. It'll be depressing if you read up on the Rwandan thing, but yeah, it's bad. 2018, a bus carrying the Humboldt Broncos junior ice hockey team collides with a semi-truck in Saskatchewan, Canada, killing 16 people and injuring 13 others. I'm a big hockey fan, if you've never picked up on that. I remember this. This was so sad. You know, they're not all 20 and 30-year-old men playing on these junior hockey teams. Some of them are 16, and it was sad. Really sad. Born on April 6th, 1937, Billy D. Williams. He was known for playing all kinds of things, but he played Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars movies. Somebody else played him in that lame-ass Han Solo movie, but he played it the rest of the time. He's appeared in numerous films in his career, including Nighthawks, Undercover Brother, Batman, and one of my all-time favorite movies, The Ladies' Man. If you've never seen The Ladies' Man, don't feel bad. Not a lot of people have. 1969, Paul Rudd is born, American actor. He is known for being in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, This Is 40, and he plays Ant-Man in all the Marvel movies. Died on April 6th. 2010, Wilma Mankiller, American tribal leader. She was a Cherokee activist, social worker, community developer, and the first woman elected to serve as the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. She died at the age of 64 due to complications from pancreatic cancer. 2014, we lost Mickey Rooney, American soldier, actor, dancer. He was best known for being in the film Breakfast at Tiffany's. His career was decades old. He died at 93 due to natural causes and complication with diabetes. Now here's a twofer. 2016, Merle Haggard died on his birthday. April 6th is his birthday and his day he died. He's a legendary country western singer-songwriter, guitarist. 2017, we lost my hero, Don Rickles, American actor and comedian. I love Don Rickles. Everyone loved Don Rickles, even though he insulted all of us. That was his art. He was amazing at it. Great story about Don Rickles. When Johnny Carson was ending The Tonight Show and, stepping down, Jay Leno was going to take over, he started having his old friends from Hollywood come out and, for the last week or so, he had Don Rickles on one night. He asked Don Rickles to tell a story about Sinatra. So he goes on to talk about how he was a young comedian working in Vegas at the same show that Frank Sinatra and, Sammy Davis Jr. and all those guys were doing, and he's like the opening act for the opening act, so he's way down on the totem pole. Anyway, his girlfriend and her mom are in town, and they're having dinner, and he sees Frank Sinatra with all of his friends over there at this other table, and he goes over there and introduces himself. He's like, Mr. Sinatra, my name's Don Rickles. I'm actually the opening act for your show. I was wondering if you can come over and say hi to my girlfriend and her mom, help me impress them, whatever. And Frank Sinatra's, yeah, sure, no problem, Don, I'll be over in a few minutes. So a few minutes pass by, here comes Frank Sinatra, puts on the show. Hey, Don, caught your act the other night. It was great. Who are these lovely ladies with you? And Don Rickles said he couldn't help it. He just looked at him and goes, Jesus, Frank, we're eating here. Could you get the hell out of here? And from that point on, Frank Sinatra loved him, moved him up in the act, and that was his career. And that's our video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like these videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share them with your friends. Be my friend. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.